You know what I hate? People who don't face facts. Now, I'm not saying that you should be a know-it-all and go on the street and correct every random person you see. That'll make you a buzzkill. I'm talking about in context with a conversation, especially one with friends or family, especially if it progresses to an argument, and you know that you are correct because you have actual factual evidence to back you up, but for some reason, they still disagree with you. Here's an example of what I mean. A buddy of mine somehow got to the topic of cars, and when we talked about the cars that we owned, he kept calling the engine in his base model Honda Accord a V4, even though it is an inline 4, or I4 for short. No matter how many times I tried to explain it to him with actual proper facts, he still wanted to call it a V4. In his words, he simply said, well, I'm not a fan of cars, so that fact doesn't affect me. Besides, I feel like V4 sounds cooler, so I prefer to say V4. So to better demonstrate what I'm saying, here's another fact. Our planet is the third planet from our star. Imagine if someone said, I'm not an astronomy fan, so that fact doesn't matter to me, so I'll keep calling the Earth the fifth planet from the sun because that's what I feel. See, that doesn't really work. Just because you're not a fan of something doesn't change the validity of the fact. Your feelings and preference about which is better doesn't actually make it better or correct. You are wrong. Face the fact. Before someone's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, you're being really mean to your friend. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm trying to educate him, and that mindset of, oh, it's not that big of a deal is exactly why misinformation spreads. If you don't correct people, myths like goldfish only have a memory of 3 seconds become very prevalent to the point that people start accepting those myths as facts. In fact, that's already kind of happening with the V4 thing. I know a lot of people who call their Camrys, their base model Honda Accords, their Nissan Sentras, who call them V4s instead of I4s. The less willing that people are to accept a 100% true fact, then eventually it's going to undermine the whole point of why we separate fact from fiction. If they don't want to face that fact, then what's the point of even having that fact? Oh, that's right, because no matter how much they don't face it, it's still the fact. Just because you ignore gravity and not accept it, that will not magically make you immune to its effects. For the same reason that if you ignore that your car is actually an inline 4 and call it a V4, it is still an inline 4. For the same reason that if you call Earth the fifth planet from the sun, that is not true, it is still the third planet from the sun. It doesn't matter what you feel, it doesn't matter what you prefer, it does not matter if you're a fan of it or not. Facts are facts. So here's the thing, they just need to admit they're wrong, and I've had my fair share of being wrong myself. I'm not up on some high horse and I'm not immune to facts myself. I have been taught a lot of things by my teachers, by my parents, and fellow friends who said, hey, you're kind of wrong, here's the fact. And you know what I did? I said, you know what? You're right. I looked it up. You have actual evidence. I agree with you. Sorry for arguing with you. Being wrong isn't a bad thing. If anything, you learn from being wrong. That's one of the beauties of being humans, is we make mistakes, and from those mistakes we can learn. And I get it, we're not all gonna be walking libraries that know every fact in the world. But understand that if you meet someone who's better studied in a field than you are, and they're presenting 100% factual information at that moment in time, right there, just accept that you are wrong. And you will actually learn something from it. And it's a really good experience actually, that's all I'm asking. So to all the freaking special snowflakes and SJWs, just stop. There are facts, there are a reason why facts exist, your feelings don't matter, no one cares, you are wrong. That's gonna be it for the first video on my channel. If you like this series about people who, some videos will be about people who I hate and others will be about people who I like. If that's a series that sounds interesting to you, then please subscribe to this channel. Other than that, thank you for watching and see y'all next time.